Out here in the Adelaide appellation of Paso Robles, Cabernet Sauvignon thrives and can achieve world-class quality. We have a love affair with our vines, and we work very hard on capturing this beautiful love, this beautiful magic, and put it into a bottle so that you may enjoy it.
This is our family destiny. This is our family life. And we would like nothing more than to share it with you. My life today is my number one passion. Not just because of the wine, but because of the environment we celebrate every day, the people that we have, that we work with every day, that are an extension of your family, and also the guests that visit us from all over the world every single day on top of this mountain. So you put all these things together and really the result is magical. Sonoma and Napa are wonderful appellations, and obviously they've had an earlier commercial start.
Right, but they're not the only two anymore.
Actually, Paso Robles itself is a much larger appellation than both of them.
Yes.
And I would say to you that if the Mondavis had come here, this would have been Napa Valley. So the Mondavi effect had a tremendous exposure to the area and allowed Napa Valley, Sonoma, and all the appellations around them to be well known to the world. This piece of property we are sitting on right now got started in 1961 by, at the time, Dr. Stan Hoffman, who was Henry Kissinger's cardiologist.
Right.
Stan and his wife Terry left Los Angeles to come here and live the dream. And they spent 20 years of their life working on this property, hoping to reach their dream. Interestingly enough, they came here and purchased this in 1961. That's the year I was born. They planted it in 1965. That's the year my brother was born. And I arrived to San Francisco in 1980, and that's the year the Hoffmans lost the property. So when you look back in your life, some wise person once told me you can never really understand life until you live it. And it's very easy to make plans, but until you actually go through that path and look back, you can't really understand it. And looking back, I was born on George Washington's birthday. My brother was born on Abraham Lincoln's birthday.
Oh my God.
Needless to say, our destiny was here, but we didn't know about it till 7 years ago when we actually arrived here and planted our flat. We are sitting here on an incredible terroir. We are sitting here on a soil that is identical to Saint-Emilion, which is a calcareous limestone soil, but with a climate that's much more conducive than the climate you get in Bordeaux. So when you combine the perfect terroir of Saint-Emilion with perfect climate and the ability to have the sun exposure and luminosity that we have and the water capacity that we have or don't have, and not it altering the type of vineyards you have, you end up with a product that we felt deserved world respect. But what we think as artists is one thing, and what the world thinks is really what it's all about. Fortunately, the critics, the wine critics, and the guests, and the consumers around the world that have tried our wines agree with us. And frankly, we couldn't be happier once we found out that they feel the same way as we do, because who's to say whose art is better? All we can do is focus on mining this property and doing the best we can and hoping that the final result would be appreciated by those who consume it.
Thank you so much for having us. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's my pleasure. Welcome to our family estate. You're always welcome here. This is where we hope to promote love and peace and happiness and be relevant in our guests' lives in more ways than one. So,
thank you.
All right.
Wonderful fun.
Okay. Thanks again.
So my passion for winemaking started in my early 20s, but my passion for wine started really in my teens. I was very, enamored by the wine, the whole wine experience, how people drank wine. I like the taste as well.
Was there a particular wine that inspired you, or was it just wine in general?
Yes, we all have this aha moment. Me, I was probably around 23 years old or so, and I had a bottle of 1986 Léoville Lascasse from Saint-Julien, Bordeaux. And I never forgot this moment. I drank this bottle of wine, and it was like, my gosh, how can somebody make wine like that? And the rest, as they say, is history.
So that you tried to
Yes.
produce that quality.
Exactly.
And do you feel you have?
I know I have.
You know you have. All
I know I
right.
have. Yes.
That's good. That's how did you pick Hoffman Hills?
So this is a very interesting story, because if you take a look at this terroir here, it is the most French terroir in California. So let's start with basically the soil. So two things really, you could argue that three things make terroir, but let's just, for the sake of keeping it simple, two things are going to determine what terroir is. First thing is the soil. And the word terroir comes from terre, which is soil. The second thing is the actual climate. So starting with the soils that you have in most of the famous vineyards in France are called in French argilo-calcaire, which is calcareous clay. So they usually have a first top layer of clay, and underneath there's a limestone subsoil. And these two soils working in conjunction, in synergy together, can produce some incredible wines, because you have the clay that's going to give you that fatness, the beautiful clay, the fatness, the color as well comes from the clay, the bouquet comes from the clay. But then that limestone, when the roots start hitting deep, are going to give you this wonderful minerality and the natural acidity that you want in the wine, as opposed to a added acidity or a minerality that's not present. So these soils are very much sought after in France. So if you look at Bordeaux, if you look at Burgundy, if you look at the Rhone region, you'll find the same soils in all these three regions. In France, everybody knows that if you have argilo-calcaire, calcareous clay soils, it is great soil for making wine. It's kind of like saying, if you're from the United States, Idaho is for potatoes. I mean, we all know in France, these soils are great for grapes.
Gotcha.
The only place we could find them are in that Adelaida appellation that we're in, within Paso Robles. And they really can lend to some wonderful phenolics and wonderful minerality and wonderful natural acidity into the wine. The other component that we found here is the climate. So this is a very different climate than, say, the rest of Paso Robles. I'll give you an example. 2013 vintage, there were over 26 days there were over 100 degrees downtown Paso Robles. Over here we had 5. So quite a bit of a difference.
Yes.
So this climate here is very much similar to a place like Oakville or St. Helena up in Napa. So again, if you look at the 2013 vintage in Napa and St. Helena, you will see that about 5 days reached 100 degrees. Our average temperature in 2013 in the growing region was about 85 degrees.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The average temperature for the climate up in Napa and St. Helena was also 85 degrees. So again, you find these wonderful climatic conditions for growing grapes and achieving ripeness every year. But then the added benefit that we have here is the wonderful soil that you really can only find over here in Adelaida.
Well, you can't reproduce that.
You cannot reproduce that.
No.
Where do you see yourself when you're 90?
Drinking wine.
Here?
Yes. Yes, I would love to be involved with every harvest till the last day I live. The harvest to me is such a magical moment. The whole experience of having worked with these grapes throughout the year and finally bring them home and seeing them produce some incredible wines, that's an experience that I would want to, live till the last day I live.
Driving by the vineyards in August and September, the aromas that come from the grapes.
Yes.
It just is I just love doing that.
Yes.
It's fabulous.
Yeah, I can never lose that excitement when harvest starts. I feel like a little kid again.
Yeah.
It's like it's happening again, and I get so excited. And right now, of course, we're in the middle of harvest. We still have 3 weeks left. This is when we start needing a break. We start thinking of a vacation.
Aren't the Cabernets the last grapes you pick?
So the mountain here gets picked every year by mid-September. So we actually finished picking the mountain a few weeks ago.
Okay.
But we have other grapes to work with, and they're all coming in right now. So we will be picking probably for the next 2 to 3 weeks, and then Cabernet usually comes in from these other regions about the last grapes, typically.
Yeah.
Cabernet will come probably last because we want to make sure it ripens well. The longer we hang it on the vine, the better phenolics we get, the better physiological ripeness we get. We're trying to basically balance the sugars with the physiological ripeness of the grape, so hang time always helps in that.
I love the fusion of the science and the arts and the passion. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's just amazing.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time, and thank you for this beautiful place that you guys built here, because I'm going to remember it forever.
Please come back.
I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
I'm coming back. I'm bringing a friend with me next time. And,
Great. We'll have some.
Just got her a T-shirt today.
We'll have some Greek food.
She's going to be wearing it. And we'll have some Greek food.
You're
All
right.
right.
Okay, great.
Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Ed.
much.
Thank you.